Harstem, I need your help. I've been trying to climb for the past month, but I always lose versus mech. It's just unbeatable. I've tried everything hundreds of times, but the Terran can just sit back and turtle on way less bases than me. And once they get 3-3, they A-move across the map and kill me. I tried using dummy large groups of Banes, great Ravager shots, and kept him at bay, but after not long, he walks across the maps, beats me with his Thors and tanks. I will not accept that this is balanced, and I believe if any Terran chooses Bio over mech in this matchup, they are the ones who suck. So Harstem, is it Imba, or do I suck? A fantastic question here by Wagabuga, a Zerg player who is in Diamond and is opening up with a hatch first. So he uses dummy big numbers of Banes and great Ravager shots. Now, I'm not sure what the amount of dummy big numbers of Banes is, but I think somewhere around 30 Banes. That's a dummy big number. And then the great Ravager shots, I mean, I'll be the one to judge. I'll be the one to judge. Alright, so we have the Terran opening up with a 1 Rex expand, no gas. Also decided not to scout, so that's kind of interesting. Wagabuga is doing some scouting here in the early game, which I'm a big fan of course. Always good to get those overlords out and about. Opening seems pretty standard. Now against mech, we've done a couple of mech replays in the past. And something that always kind of strikes me is a couple of things. First of all, it's very common for Zergs to get a very high drone count, and because they see pro players do this, and what they do is they get that very high drone count and then they just sit back and they have a couple of bad fights. Now the thing with a high drone count is that your army is going to be very small, so you're constantly going to need to be trading. This is not something that lower level Zergs do. Usually they just get a very high drone count, get a lot of money, and then they trade once every 4 minutes, and then the other guy moves across the map and just kind of kills them. It's really quite common. Another thing is unit compositions tend to go all over the place. If we remember the loco thing, they just, Zergs tend to switch between compositions kind of willy-nilly, which isn't great. Usually it's good to pick a composition and kind of stick with it and progress like there is a plan behind it, instead of just going, oh crap, this didn't work, let me try this one. That's not really how Starcraft is supposed to work. We see a roach warren on the way here for Wagabuga. That's a very early roach warren. His opponent is playing triple factory. Wagabuga has confirmed that indeed there is at least one factory on the way. He doesn't know about the CC, but I mean, he can guess that. Building a bunch of links. No roaches yet. I'm not sure why. Oh, he's supply block. Extremely supply block at 36. So, yeah, this type of roach attack, I mean, it's a cut at 26 workers, is going to have to do a lot of damage, right? That just kind of makes sense. Like, you can't really cut workers this early, be behind in workers against the Terran, and not kill any workers. So we'll see if he gets very far ahead here, or what is going to happen as the Terran continues. Man, he's getting a lot of depots, this guy. And it's the beauty of mech, isn't it? 1 click, 6 supply. So you always need to have lots of supply available. Now we have 4 more roach on the way, already 3 out. Not quite moving across the map yet. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing here. Maybe it's defensive roaches? Or maybe he wants to group up, then walk with them in a group. Hello? 2 more queens? 2 more roaches? I love how he just builds it in increments, It's like, oh, I could build all these 7 roaches at the same time, but what if I build them 2 by 2 and then save them up so I hit a solid minute later than I should? And the other guy in his brain goes, oh, sounds alright. Here we are. This hits really, he's down 8 workers. I mean, by the time he's gonna hit, his opponent's gonna have like 5 tanks out. Well, not quite, but I mean, there's gonna be some tanks out. So, I mean, income is not looking too hot right now for the Zerg player. Now he sees a bunker, 5 cars. He's like, huh, that's interesting. First tank pops, not a single Ravager, so you can't really burst down the puts 2 SCVs in the bunker. I love it. What is this? Shows the roaches so his opponent can prepare, and then moves back home. Maybe he knows that he is just way superior when it comes to the mid and late game, that he always gives his opponent a massive advantage in the early game. Because he knows it's not fair otherwise. He's just too good. You know, you have these guys who tell me they have like the grandmaster knowledge of the game. This guy doesn't have the grandmaster knowledge, he's like the grandmaster mechanics. He's just so good in the mid and the late game that he knows exactly what to do. He's building 8 drones now. These roaches actually did nothing. None of them have any damage. None of them have a kill. He just built, what is it? 9 roaches. Just for jokes. It's not like the other guy really cut any work progress. I mean, he already was at 44 workers. This guy went 2 command center, 5 factory, which is not a build order, but, you know, it's still more of a build order than whatever the hell it is that Wagabuga is doing. I'm still waiting for these great Ravager shots, by the way. I've seen 0. I love this, just adding Ravagers. I have no clue what's happening here. Honestly, neither has Wagabuga. The last time he saw something was when that factory was building. He doesn't know if it's mech. I mean, I guess he can guess it. I wouldn't mind an Overseer Scout at this point, honestly. Let's also not forget that Nikondi literally has done nothing for the first 6 minutes. Like, no harass, nothing. He's just been sitting here. Like, Wagabuga could have been playing against the AI and have similar results, basically. Like, he hasn't been tempted or touched once. He hasn't been attacked once. And yet, how many tumors do we have? He has 9 creep tumors only, with 5 queens. Like, how's it even possible? For 7 minutes, he's had 3 creep spread. It's not like he was busy attacking. What has he been doing? His injects look okay. He has good larva count. He's getting a baling nest. Oh, this is a classic as well. So this is a roach, Ravager attack upgrades, and then going into banings. No, adding 6 Ravagers. So he's gonna be playing Ling, Bane, Roach, but with upgrades for the range. Now the reason why this sucks is very simple. It sucks because the main damage of the Ravager is going to be the Bile, and that damage output doesn't change with upgrades. And the Banelings are going to be the rest of your damage, which means that it's better to get melee upgrades than it is to get range upgrade with this. Like, he's not actually ahead. I bet... Okay, this is what happened. Wagabuga, in his head, he thought of this as like, man, I really contained him hard with my Ravager plays, you know? Ooh, some crazy good Bile shots. Kills 2 SCVs and 3 tumors. He started cutting workers at 26 for this attack. Let's not forget about that. Crazy good Ravager shots. This is also the type of guy who looks at this replay and sees 140 supply against 132, 59 workers against 48, and he goes his head. This is kind of like, you know, when you go bowling and so you're doing one-on-one competitive bowling like most people do, you know, on their Friday evenings, if you don't have friends to go out with. And your friend starts, you know, your friend's name is Wagabuga, and he throws over 5 pins. And then he goes, man, I'm so far ahead. And you tell Wagabuga, well, like, you had the first turn, like, now it's my turn, so I can throw over more pins. He goes, no, like, I just threw over 5 pins, I'm up 5 pins, like. And I go, that's not quite how it works. And it's my turn, I throw over 7 pins, I'm like, I'm up 2. Then he starts complaining about his bowling ball being too slow. Like, mate, your army consists of roaches and Ravagers. Like, these guys inflate supply. You're not actually ahead at this point. Hell, you're super far behind. He has 8 tanks out and 3 Thors already. And all you have is roaches and Ravagers. Your army gets hard countered. You don't have the eco to easily switch out of things. Why the hell are you still on a layer against someone meching? Like, you should be going probably Viper with this composition, honestly. Like, you only have range. You can't rush into him. Now you get into a Spire, a Hydra then. Like, I have some beating Grandmaster with stupid challenges where I had to build every single unit, but unless you're also a YouTuber who's making some content right now, I have no clue what you're doing. 17 more roaches, Baling speed, no infestation pit. I mean, who really needs hive, right? Ultra suck. I mean, I wouldn't even mind infestors here against this army. You could get some, like, there's a big Thor count already. Like, you see the big Thor count. You see there's like 5 Thors. Why the hell are you building a Spire? Like, are you gonna mess Muta at this point? Like, that's absolutely not possible. 6 more drones. So he's actually getting a good drone count now, but as I said before, he's just not trading, he's not doing anything, and he's just building units that are running out of steam very fast and then not doing anything with it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like, if you're gonna... Like, these units have a massive time limit on them, right? Especially if you're not getting any extra tech with it. Like, you need to be trading them out ASAP, because they keep getting worse. Like, if you have 10 roaches against 3 tanks or 2 tanks, that's kind of okay for the roaches still. But if you have like 15 tanks against 25 roaches, like, you might get a single bile off. Like, how are these crazy good biles? I mean, yeah, okay, I guess here I got 3 tanks. Resources lost. Pretty much in favor of the Terran still. Like, these fights are so bad. This is what I'm talking about. He should have been trading such a long time ago. Look at the units lost. He just loses his entire army. 4.7k resources down. And this, yeah, he's pulling a loco. He goes, man, Roach Ravager is like a list, you know? Compositions that might be able to work. And he just scratched off the first one. Alright, Roach Ravager is crap. 48 links, 9 mutas is next. Who cares that there's 17 Tors out already? Well, 5 Tors out already, 3 more on the way. There's Cyclones. The only thing that there isn't is turrets. It's like, alright, the next one, if the mutas don't work, maybe he'll go into ultras, and then maybe he'll go into infestors, and then when all of them have failed because he doesn't have the correct upgrades for them, then he sends me an email complaining about things. This is 18 Balings. I love it. Look, +2 range about to finish up. So as he has a pretty vital timing here, he has a 2-2 timing basically with range upgrades. All the range units he has left right now is this guy. This is the only range unit. Imagine you're in the army, all right? Imagine you're in the army, and your army consists of 30 Marines, you know, and 1 tank, one guy that drives a tank. Okay, no, let me make it better. 5,000 Marines with like guns and I don't know, their shields and whatever. I don't know how Marines work, mate. And then you have 1 guy who drives a tank, and then your commander has the choice to invest into 2 things. It's gonna be either training for all these 5,000 Marines, making sure, you know, just proper training, making sure they know how to use their guns and stuff like that, making sure that they know how the strategies work. Or they can give the tank guy a bunch of training so he can shoot maybe 0.5 times faster, 1.5 times faster. And your commander goes, well, you know, these 5,000 Marines, it might be fun to help them improve, but how about we make this tank really freaking strong? And then what we do is we leave this tank behind when we're gonna fight, because I have my doubt that this Ravager is ever going to participate in a fight. Because this guy, I'm pretty sure, isn't hotkeyed anymore. So unless this guy uses F2, which I don't think he is, this Ravager is not going to be seeing any action, and these 2-2 upgrades, or well, at least the +2 range, is completely wasted. Now, mutas are actually doing some damage. This fight is already fantastic. He managed to actually stack up links so that the Hellbats got more surface area on them. I didn't know that was possible, but Wooga Booga really is showing me a thing or two here about Starcraft and the optimal way of losing units. It's almost 7k behind in resources lost, and is actually down in supply right now, which I have no clue how he's doing. He also said in his email that he's like, they move out once they have the 3. Mate, your opponent has +1 upgrades. And you might say, well, that's pretty broken that Terran with only +1 upgrade can beat an army that's 2-2. Except the army that Wooga Booga is making doesn't have any upgrades. These guys don't have any attack upgrades. Now this is... I was gonna say this is a good run by. And then he literally threw like 45 banelings into 5 depots and 2 planetaries. I wouldn't have minded that if his opponent wasn't already on 30 workers and is probably about to attack him. And if he had like some type of transition behind it, or, you know, way more Banes, that he could actually knows for a fact that he can kill this army. 14k against 6k. Okay. Yeah, he has, okay, so he has +1 on the Lynx finishes. He's like, huh, you know, I finally got some upgrades for the Banelings. Maybe I should go back into the range upgrades, because don't forget, we still have this guy over here. Oh no. He kills 3 Thors. You wonder what these guys would have been able to do with some upgrades, perhaps. And then his response is like, okay, well, now Roach Ravager hasn't worked, Link Baneling doesn't do anything. Time to build my Hydras. Lurker Den, Greater Spire, and Ultralisk Cavern to really round out my tech. Let's see what we can do. And at this point, his opponent is literally at +1 upgrades. Okay, we'll see how the fight's gonna go, because a lot of the time it's pretty difficult for Zerg to get all the units in at the same time. We see a bunch of Hydras. I have a feeling this is not going to be enough. Tanks are sieged. He's just walking into sieged tanks and Thors. There's no Vipers. Mac broken, he says. Mac broken. Alright, like, he completely forgot to use any type of hive units. He had all attack, don't get me wrong. He had Greater Spire, Ultra Cavern. He had a hive. He was getting 3/3 upgrades. All very nice. Never used the Infestation Pit for Infestors, but he completely skipped Vipers, which is one of the most useful units that there is. His early game was terrible. Then he got a really high eco and didn't trade at all. Well, no, that's not true. He traded. He killed 4 depots and 2 command centers, rather than attacking his opponent's army. Even though his opponent was already on 30 SCVs at that point, so it's pretty poor eco. Like, he didn't need to kill more eco, he just needed to kill the army, make sure that he wouldn't die. He switched compositions 3 times, had the wrong upgrades for the Banelings. I mean, his creep threat was kind of atrocious. Actually, I'm kind of curious, what was the vision of that? I feel like this Terran never harassed. This Terran saw the edge of the creep 13 minutes in. This Terran did absolutely nothing to stop his opponent from doing whatever he wanted. And Wagga Booga did whatever he wanted. And then he complained because the things he wanted to do weren't actually the things that were gonna work, you know? Imagine getting free. Wagga Booga is the manager of a company and gets complete freedom from the CEO. And he invests his entire savings in a toilet that, instead of flushing everything down, just pushes it out, you know, blows it out of the top. So every time after you're done doing your business at the toilet, you also need to clean it up. And then when he gets fired because it's a crap investment, he starts complaining and sending me emails about how unfair it is in the world. Like, mate, you had all the freedom in the world and this is what you did with it. Like, he had +1 attack. Wagga Booga, my friend. Mech can be difficult to deal with. I understand that. It can feel broken at times. It can feel like that. I understand that as well. But this game was honestly just a show of pure incompetence from your part. You did nothing correct and everything wrong. Look at this guy. The world's most well-upgraded Ravager. Hasn't seen any use though. Yeah, you just suck, dude. You suck so freaking hard. It's insane. Declinched. No, wait, I need to press the button for this. Thanks so much for watching another fantastic episode of Is It Imba or Do I Suck? If you did enjoy this, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as that helps me a lot. Also, smash the like button, because smashing the like button tells YouTube that you liked the video, and I will recommend it to more people, which means more people watch more ads, means more money for me. If I get more money, maybe I'll finally be able to get a second Bob Dylan poster. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.